Welcome to the Chinese Canadian Museum podcast, The School Room. I'm your host, Melissa Lee, CEO of the museum. Thank you so much for joining us. Today, we're so excited to welcome Bryan Chiu to the School Room. Bryan is a former Canadian Football League standout who played 13 seasons with the Montreal Alouettes from 1997 to 2009 as one of the league's top offensive linemen and one of its few players of Chinese descent. He is a three-time Grey Cup winner, twice as a player for the Alouettes and once as a coach for the Ottawa Redblacks. Welcome to our podcast, Bryan. Thanks so much for being here with us. We're so excited.
Well, I'm excited too. Thank you so much for having me.
Just want to begin at the beginning here, which is in BC. You grew up in Richmond. Can you kind of go back to what your childhood was like and how football became a part of your life?
My mom is originally from Hong Kong, and they came over in early 70s. I was born in 1974. My dad actually passed away when I was a year and a half old, and my sister was 6 months old. So my mom was kind of my mom and dad growing up. It was a tough childhood, but at the end of the day, we had everything we needed. And the city of Richmond and Vancouver, it was very westernized still at that time. And so it took my mom a lot of time to adjust to the North American culture.
How did you get into football?
Great question. So I grew up with, like I said, my dad passed away when I was really young, and I had an uncle. And that was really my only other male influence in my life. I came to school here at Vancouver College. It was a way for me to connect with other boys. I'm not the typical Asian kid where I'm small. I was born at 10 pounds plus, so I was always a big kid. I had to get rid of my physical aggressions, I guess, as a young boy. And I just found football was a sport which allowed me to just be myself. Whether we were white, black, Asian, it didn't matter. It was a family, and I really felt like I belonged there.
You've spoken before in interviews about how a teacher has once told you would never make it in football, particular stereotypes that you had to overcome. Can you just tell us a little bit about that experience?
It was definitely tough because back then there was not a lot of Asian boys playing in the game, right? My mom really didn't want me to play the game, to be honest. She saw it as a very westernized game that was very violent. And she really put me towards the music side and learning another language, like a typical Asian mom, right? So
what is it with Asians in North American countries that want their kids to learn piano or violin?
exactly. So my sisters all played piano, and then it's like my mom always had carved out my path for me. As you might know, it's like you're going to be a doctor or this or that, and I just went against the norm, I guess. For me, it was just about being happy, and it took my mom a little bit of time to understand that. But there's one deal she always made with me was you can play the game, you can go love the game, but the one rule I have for you is you're going to graduate with a degree from university.
Did you try other sports before you gravitated to football, like soccer or badminton or?
No, the only other sport I played was wrestling. I wrestled. Again, another physical kind of a game, but no, I still don't think I'm the most athletic guy. I never really was, but I just had a passion for the game and I was willing to work.
And you were saying that there weren't that many Asians at that time that were in football. Do you remember as a kid, were there other athletes that you looked up to that you felt could work as role models for you?
You know what? Not really. For me, it was like we watched a lot of hockey, the Canucks, obviously, and I did go to a lot of football games. My aunt got us tickets constantly to go to the BC Lions, and I'd go with my cousins. And I remember telling my sister, I was maybe 8 or 10 years old, I'm like, I'm going to play pro football, and she kind of laughed at me and said, "There's no way." I said, okay, we'll figure that out. So that's how it worked.
That's why I think it makes such a big difference, I think, for generations now to see you. And do you have kids and athletes of Asian descent that come and talk to you about that? And like, do you see yourself so much as a mentor?
I do, I do. I just use football and my career as a platform to kind of represent my culture and let these kids that I'm coaching now realize that color doesn't matter. It's what's in your heart and you really believe you're gonna do it, you can do it. Like it's all positive enforcement for me because of my past, hearing teachers tell me I can't make it. And if I'm gonna be honest, if I listen to them, then they'd be right. But I kind of flipped the script in it that I use that as motivation to just to prove to myself and to prove to everyone else that I can do it if I really want to. I'm very blessed. I think it was the hard work I put in. Obviously, my mom gave us everything we needed. She worked 2, 3 jobs if she had to. She put us in the best schools and let us just be kids. And at the end of the day, I don't think she really believed it until maybe my grade 11, 12th year when university started calling. And they started offering me scholarships. And it was my mom kind of had a light bulb moment in that she's like, wow, you're gonna get like a full degree from the States and you don't have to pay a penny. So then she kind of jumped on board at that time, drove me down to California, dropped me off, and just reminded me of the promise I made her. Like, no matter what you do, you have to graduate. So that was it.
And after university, why did you decide to come back to Canada, and play for the Montreal Alouettes?
Yeah, so it's funny because I actually got drafted in 1996. I didn't know I was getting drafted. I got a call from the Alouettes saying I got drafted. I said, great. But what stuck with me was I still had one more year of school. I hadn't graduated yet.
And is that normal or is it different now? Because now I feel like drafting is this entire kind of celebratory thing and everyone kind of bets on it or knows about it.
That's more down south in the NFL. But, when I got that call, they're like, are you coming to camp? Are you going to come in 1996? And I remember that phone call like it was yesterday. I told their general manager at the time, I'm like, listen, thank you so much for drafting me. I appreciate it. But I have a promise I got to fulfill. So I sat out that year I got drafted so I could get my degree. And then I reported in 1997 after I got my degree.
So, what was it like moving to Montreal? And was there like a huge kind of learning curve from going from university directly to playing professional football?
100%. I mean, the big thing was it was just a culture shock for me. I remember showing up in Montreal and we were in a small town and everyone spoke French. And I'm looking at me, I'm like, I'm a little bit of an outcast here. And I remember calling my mom saying, I don't know if I could do this. Like, these are grown men, like 25, 30 years old. And here I am, a 20-year-old kid coming from university trying to figure this thing out.
Were you the youngest on the team?
I was at the time, yes. I was at
Wow.
the time, yes. And, my mom just gave me that piece of advice, right? She's like, they give you an opportunity. You have to go out there and do the best you can. If you make it, great. If not, at least you tried. And I stuck it out. I stuck it out that first year, and the rest is history.
And did you learn to speak French a little bit?
Enough to get by. I learned French in high school here in Vancouver, and my mom put us in French school, and I never thought I was going to use it. So I never took it seriously. But then the moment I got drafted there, I'm like, oh my goodness, this is just fate. So I did pick up a lot of French as my career continued in Montreal.
I don't know if you're aware of the weightlifting champion Chen Hong Chan.
Yes, yes.
As a Montreal Chinese Canadian born in 1935 and was the weightlifting champion for Canada. Did you know about him?
I've heard his name multiple times throughout my career, but I didn't really know the details.
His daughter kind of gave us his weightlifting medal and Olympic booklet to have in the museum exhibition. But the one thing that really struck me was he is 5'3" when he became the weightlifting champion. So it's really something that shows like your own kind of physical stature is not a deterrent at all in being athletic.
No matter how big you are, how fast, how strong, if you want something big enough, as long as your heart's there and you're committed, things always turn out the way it should.
And how much do you feel winning in sports is psychological?
In high school, yes, the skills matter, but as you move up into the university and professional ranks, 90% of it is mental. 90%. Because if I really look at my career and the guys I played beside, they were all bigger, they were all faster, they were all stronger. And I had to do something a little different in that in order for me to maintain my career and feel safe was that I'm going to outwork them. I'm going to be smarter because I wasn't as fast, I wasn't as strong, but what I could study was how defenses and how people play so that I can put myself a step ahead.
You've also spoken about how diverse your Montreal Alouettes team was and how football brought people of different backgrounds together. Could you give some examples of different teammates that you never would have met otherwise?
Football is the ultimate team game. I've had teammates that are of Mormon descent. I have African American teammates from like South Central Los Angeles, New Jersey, Miami, people from Europe. And these are all guys with all different backgrounds, different religions. They were all brought up differently, but we were all put together on this team and created a family among ourselves, right?
Are there any interesting game day superstitions that you guys used to do?
Yeah, I'm full of superstitions. I'm full of superstitions. Like, if you look at my football number, I wore 68. My mom had to actually look at that number and say, "Is that a good number?" Because I believe they gave me a different number at one time that had a four in it.
Oh, yeah, that's terrible.
So that's why I have that number. But my game day superstitions, I had a lot. If it's a 1 o'clock game, I'd always show up 4 hours before the game. I'd always put on my left sock first before my left shoe before my right. Everything had to go from left to right. I had the same pregame meals. Everything I did was very precise and detailed.
I guess that's usual for a lot of athletes, like that kind of feeling of superstition. Did you guys used to have pranks?
Lots of pranks. You want to hear about some pranks? Oh, geez. Well, we would do a lot of stuff that there's what we call initiation for a lot of the rookies, the younger guys. So whether it's they have to do our laundry for us, like on a daily basis, they have to carry our pads, they have to, and they didn't do certain things, we would punish them. Like guys would catch fish and they'd put the fish guts all over their uniforms and there was some bad stuff that happened, but at the end of the day, it was all harmless fun, and it's just part of the process of building this team culture.
And were you initiated? Did you remember that?
Yeah, I remember I had to shave my head once, and then it's like on every road trip, the rookie, which is the first year guy, had to bring breakfast for his group. So they'd order all this food. I'd have to go 2 hours early to McDonald's, let's say, and buy a couple $100 worth of breakfast, right?
I mean, it's all in good fun, and it sounds like it really helps like the team bond together and kind of get over themselves.
Yeah, you just have to buy in and just be okay with it. And I mean, everyone has to pay their dues.
You played center. That's not necessarily the most visible on the field, but incredibly important to how the whole offense works. Did that position shape the way you think about leadership?
Yes, because I was the first one to touch the ball on every single play. Being the center, you had a lot of control and a lot of responsibility. It was my job to tell everyone I worked with beside me what to do. And whatever I said, we all had to do the same thing. So I enjoyed the pressure on myself because I take pride in making the right decisions, just getting everyone on the right track. So yes, center has taught me a lot. It's kind of made me more of a student of the game because it wasn't just about learning my job. I had to understand what all five guys up front were doing on every single play.
And do you still remember how nervous you were before your very first CFL game? Like, do you remember that moment?
Oh yeah, I threw up in the tunnel right before they
Wow.
Oh, I threw up. Yes, I was nervous. I was really, really nervous because I knew I was representing more than myself, and I wanted to go out there and perform at the highest level. And I was still young. I didn't understand the mental side at the time, and I'd worked myself up to that point where I could barely perform. And it took me 2 or 3 games into the season where I got comfortable and understood that preparation is the most important thing. There's no need to be nervous. You just prepare the best you can, go out there and do the best job you can, period.
And just kind of remembering that feeling in that moment as a young CFL player, does that help you now in your second career as a coach?
100%. I think I have that ability to be more relatable to a lot of these boys because they know I've done it. So I get that instant credibility, I guess. But I just try to impart on these young kids all these different situations throughout their careers just to give them a head start and to stop them from making those same mistakes I did.
How does it feel coaching where you went to school? Like you're coaching now at Vancouver College. Is there a lot of kind of nostalgia or like you remembering yourself as a student?
Absolutely. I think it's a full circle moment for me. I mean, I've been blessed enough to have my whole career football related, whether it's playing the game, coaching the game, talking about the game, and coming home and really impacting the youth. This is by far the most rewarding and important job that I've ever had in my life. Because if I can get through to 1 or 2 of these kids, even if it's not football related, I can influence them in a positive way. To me, that's a win.
And do they ask you what it's like to win the Grey Cup?
Yeah, they do. And I mean, my answer is always the same. Like, we don't think about Grey Cups. And I try to tell our boys here the same thing. We don't think about championships. We just think about doing the right things on a daily basis. And if you do those correct things each and every day, each person gets 1% better. The winning takes care of itself. There's nothing in my office here that talks about Grey Cups or myself or my career. These are all about the boys. These are all the boys that have made fantastic plays throughout a year because I've always believed that if you're good, you feel the need to talk about yourself and to show off. But if you're great, people will talk about you. You don't have to worry about that stuff. And we don't play this game for notoriety. We play this game because we love it and we want to build authentic relationships with each other. I always say we're not in the football business here, we're in the relationship business. And the more the team can spend time together outside of football, whether it's going bowling, whether it's going for lunch or dinner, they build that camaraderie and they have built a trust. There's a level of trust with each other and that you lean on each other because you're really going out there playing a very violent game and you need all 11 guys out there to perform at a high level for any of us to have success.
Do you think that there is a lot more understanding now related to safety also in football in terms of concussions and football injuries? Do you feel like there are more regulators and more safety guards in place?
Oh, 100%. Because with all the CTE and all these studies with the brain, there's been different kind of equipment that's safer for the boys in terms of their head and their brain and their helmets. We really focus on proper technique and tackling, and that's something that's been put in place from the BC School Sports, teaching these boys how to tackle properly, how to keep their heads up, how to protect yourself. So yes, there is.
Nowadays, do you see a lot more Asian athletes playing football?
Yeah, I see a lot more, and it's fantastic. I mean, if I'm just walking around Vancouver right now, I see some really big Asian boys here, and it makes me very proud to see that they're allowed to go out there and explore these games, and it's not such a taboo thing anymore. It's like, hey, there's value in this because at the end of the day, football is a great sport, but you get a lot more life skills than you do in classrooms sometimes.
Does it change the way that you feel about being Chinese Canadian now? There's so much more representation versus when you first started your career. Has your identity of being Chinese evolved?
I mean, I've always been proud of my culture. It's one of those things where it's just with me. It's inherently just me, but obviously I just feel prouder, I guess, seeing so many boys of Asian descent playing football now. And if I could be a help in any way, I'm there. A lot of parents that I deal with here at Vancouver College, especially of Asian descent, and I can actually look them in the eyes, they have a trust They trust that I'm going to take care of their boys. So that means the world to me.
That's so great. So we spoke about your Chinese identity, and it would be great to hear some fun things. Like, when you were in Montreal, you always had particular foods that you ate. Were there foods that you missed, like Chinese food in Richmond in Montreal, that you always came back, visited your mom, and always had to eat?
Oh yeah, always. I mean, there's tons of food in Vancouver overall, but like especially like my mom's of Shanghainese descent too. So obviously my baos and stuff like that, like my dumplings and all those things that I enjoy. And of course, mom's home cooking is the key. Um, there's a lot more fresh seafood out here too. So but my favorite things was when having my mom come to Montreal and visit, and she'd just stock up my fridge and freezers, and she we go to Chinatown and she'd find I don't know how she found like live seafood and stuff like that for me. So yeah,
That's something that's like I can really relate to because I went to McGill and so lived in Montreal for 4 years. And when my parents set me up, the they flew over with me in to set me up in my dorm. And the first place we went to was Chinatown
of course.
because that's where we would get all the fresh fruit and vegetables and stock up my cupboards. They knew that that was the best place to begin looking for food.
It's gotten a little better in Montreal now. There's more Asian restaurants. There's hot pot out there now, so it's getting a little bit better, but I don't think anything compares to BC.
Oh, for sure, for sure. So Montreal has its great um, restaurants as well that I think I also miss. I always bring back 2 dozen bagels and smoked meat.
From Schwartz's Deli?
Yes, from
Yeah.
Schwartz's.
Fairmont Bagels?
Fairmont Bagels, open 24 hours. Yeah.
I do the same thing now.
There's nothing like a Montreal bagel and, the New York and Montreal rivalry. There's no contest with the
That's
bagels.
right. And if you know, you know.
Yeah, it's true. Another fun thing I wanted to ask was, if you weren't a football player or coach, what do you think you would have done? Did you ever think about that?
You know what? I don't know. I definitely wouldn't have been like a doctor or a dentist like my sisters. It's like I joke with my mom about it to this day. I'm the happiest out of all my siblings, my cousins, because I don't have that stress. Like I get paid throughout my career playing a game of football or coaching a game. And to me, there's nothing better. So I have different kind of stresses, but it's my passion and I don't look at it as a job.
And that's really all we can, I mean, I believe that we can hope for in life to do something as a job that doesn't feel like a job that you love and you would do. It's something that you really enjoy and you don't think about it as work. Like it sounds like that's the best thing.
Oh, it is. It's so much fun, and it's like I say, I get to coach these young boys and just be a positive role model for them, right? A lot of them come from different backgrounds, and some don't have fathers, and it's like I feel it's my responsibility to give back for everything I received at an early age.
And one more fun question. If you could have dinner with any athlete, living or dead, who would it be?
Ooh, Bruce Lee.
Oh,
I'm not even kidding you. I've always said it since I was born. My dad at a young age was big into kung fu, and that was his guy. And just reading on the history of him and everything he's done, I mean, yeah, that's a role model.
and I think his daughter is still like such an advocate for his legacy.
I mean, that's someone that to me is like when I was growing up, that's an idol. That's someone I looked up to.
For sure. Like so important, I think, for Chinese North American culture and even in Hong Kong, still just a heavyweight.
Of course.
Brian, thank you so much for being on our show. And to learn more about Bryan Chiu, and other trailblazing Chinese Canadian athletes, come see our show at the Chinese Canadian Museum, Momentum, Power and Identity in Sports. It's on view until next year, September 5th, 2027, in Vancouver, Chinatown at the Chinese Canadian Museum. Thank you so much, Brian.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
This podcast was recorded on the traditional territories of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh peoples.
We invite you all to reflect on the territories that you're on and the host nations and pay respect to their elders, past, present, and emerging. To learn more about the Chinese Canadian Museum and book tickets, visit us at www.chinesecanadianmuseum.ca and follow us on Instagram at ccmuseumbc for updates. The Schoolroom is presented by the Chinese Canadian Museum, hosted by Dr. Melissa Karmen Lee and produced by Rosalie Gunawan. Production is supported by Noah Taylor. The theme music and original audio was created by Joshua Young, and graphic design is by Studio Pian Pian He and Max Harvey. Stay tuned for the next episode of The Schoolroom, available wherever you get your podcasts.